Joining us now on the Howie Carr Show, as she usually does on Mondays, is Ann Coulter. She's a New York Times bestselling author. Her current book is Resistance is Futile. But today, Ann, on the 20th anniversary of the impeachment of Bill Clinton, the book that I'm thinking about is High Crimes and Misdemeanors, the crimes of Bill Clinton, or the case against Bill Clinton. What was it like coming out with that book 2 months before the vote to impeach him? It must have been a fun time.
That was a good book.
I bet it sold a lot of copies.
And coincidentally, I have a chapter, because people keep asking me, including serious reporters, I have a chapter in Resistance is Futile comparing everything they are saying about Trump to the attempted impeachment of Richard Nixon and the actual impeachment of Bill Clinton. And you will see no one knows what he's talking about. There were serious felonies. I mean, one of the lessons from Clinton's impeachment is you have to get things done fast, whether it's an impeachment, an Iraq war, building a wall. The longer you dilly-dally, the more the left has time to create a counter-narrative and build up their forces, and people get bored with things, which brings us directly to the topic of the week.
Exactly. Mitch McConnell this morning, he announces a CR. We're instead of negotiating funding for the wall when Republicans control the House and the Senate, we're going to give Nancy Pelosi more power in February and do this whole thing all over again from a weakened position of negotiation. The texters have been wishing me thoughts and prayers for the big ball of blonde fury that would be Ann Coulter. So what's your take on the situation in Washington right now, Ann?
Well, number one, you could get a job on Fox News for blaming anyone but Trump, the man we elected president of the United States, for the lack of a wall. This is not Mitch McConnell's fault. He wasn't the one who spent 18 months every single day promising to build a wall. My column just went up, Gutless President in Wallless Country. If you had done that after decades of politicians ignoring illegal immigrants, millions pouring across our border, dealing drugs, killing families in drunk driving accidents, killing Americans like Kate Steinle, and you every day promised to build a wall. Wouldn't you have started the day after the election? During your 73-day transition period, you could start dealing with, congressional allies, if you think you need Congress, even though you're the president of the United States. Start talking to military leaders about using the Seabees or the Army Corps of Civil Engineers. Why aren't you out there building the prototypes the day after the election? 73 days to get it done. Blow off the inauguration, take your oath of office down at San Diego, and start construction the next day. No, Trump didn't do that. He didn't do it for 2 years, ridiculously blaming Congress as if anyone thinks the president of the United States must get a bill passed before he can protect the borders of the nation he's president of. No, he doesn't need that. He's the president.
So
now we will be able to blame the Democrats for the next 2 years. So I think that the conclusion is inevitable. Either only one of two things is possible. He never intended to build a wall. It was just a scam for the voters. He's just a BS artist, as we always thought might be true. Hoped it wasn't. Or he has no idea how to get it done and very little interest in finding out.
Now, you said earlier on the Daily Caller podcast with Duncan Hunter, who's been a guest on this show, that you think that without the wall, and now obviously we're not going to get it, you don't even think he's going to finish his first term. I've been saying that he without the wall he doesn't get reelected, but why? I guess how would it work out that he doesn't serve out his first term?
Well, technically, I said either he doesn't get reelected, or very likely he doesn't finish his term. So I'm not committed to one outcome or the other. But I will tell you, if he goes without being impeached, and very few supporters willing to defend him, I'll get back to that in a second. I did write about that in my column this week, along with a path forward he could take. Don't think he will, but what he could do to save his presidency. he would, if he doesn't run for re-election, or rather if he doesn't get impeached, let me put it that way, he will withdraw at the worst possible moment. He'll wait until the convention. He will totally screw over the Republican Party, announce, I've made America great again. I don't need to run again. Republicans will, whomever the Democrats run, will be the next president if, as seems somewhat inevitable at this point, he is not going to build the wall.
These are pretty dark words.
And why will he be impeached? Because look, even though, as described, I think in very interesting and entertaining detail in Resistance is Futile, all the attacks the left is lobbing against Trump are ridiculous. There aren't crimes. There aren't high crimes. There is no Russian collusion, and so on and so forth. Still, we are getting to see the dark underbelly of a lot of unattractive things about Trump: the porn star, the sleazy personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, the seedy business practices. And even if there's nothing criminal here, even if there are no high crimes, as I think is the case on the basis of everything we know, it's still, his supporters are getting a little fed up with this. It's not the greatest thing to read about your president hanging around, whether he had sex with them or not, but he was hanging around with the Playboy playmates and the porn stars. It's just exhausting. And if there's no wall, there is no reason to brush that aside and defend him. So how does he save himself? Something he will never, ever, ever do. He can fight on their territory, which is all of this impeachment business and all of the sleazy business practices that leave a bad taste in your mouth, again, even if there's nothing criminal there, or he can use the military to build the wall. What will happen then, Steve? The left will go absolutely crazy. They'll bring impeachment hearings over his building the wall as commander-in-chief. There will be 1 million lawsuits filed, and the public will completely rally behind him. That's the battleground where he wins. And, the first rule of battle is you pick the place where you want to fight. You pick the battleground that's best for you. His best ground is to fight on building the wall. Let them try to impeach him. That would rally everyone, Republicans, independents, his supporters, even people who don't support him, will rally them to his side. But no, the path he's on now, I think he is guaranteed to lose re-election, or as I say, more likely just wait until the worst possible moment to announce he's not running again.
So I've seen a number of people. I've seen a number of people saying use the military to build the wall, use the Seabees to build the wall, but I've only heard that in conservative talk radio land. I haven't heard anyone coming forward and saying that this is a plan, this is what we're advocating for. Even some of the conservative nonprofits haven't developed a plan or, like the legal rationale supporting it. So I really don't think that's likely, Ann.
Well, I don't think it's likely because of what I said before. One of two possibilities. Always a BS artist, never intended to build a wall and was just scamming us.
These are really
no
tough.
idea and no interest in getting it done. That's why it's not going to happen. It's not that it couldn't happen. I've been telling him since his election that he can use the military and Homeland Security. It's his job. It's the number one job of the President of the United States.
I tell you,
it's not
Ann,
going to Christmas parties with Howie Carr. It is protecting the country he is the president of.
I agree with you, but I got to tell you, Ann, depressed, pessimistic, Trump-hating Ann Coulter is a tough pill to swallow for listeners who went out and bought In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome.
That's a fantastic book, and it's all laid out right there. What was so great about him, and the risk. I mean, as I describe in today's column on this subject, the fact that he was just such an utterly coarse vulgarian. I describe in Trump We Trust. That actually seemed to make his vow to build a wall more credible. Maybe it took someone who was just an utter narcissistic sociopath to ignore elite opinion and finally keep his promise. Finally keep his promise. Respectable politicians have been promising us that they'd get tough on illegal immigration for decades, Steve. So if the respectable politicians won't do it, let's try the reality TV star. That was the bet that was being made. High hopes for it. I mean, I'm actually kind of amazed that someone as narcissistic and self-interested as he is isn't building the wall out of pure self-preservation.
Yeah, well, no, that's a point. That's a point. But hey, Ann, we do have to give the Trump administration credit for two big victories.
Releasing criminals?
Yeah, the First Step Act, so criminals will be able to get out of prison sooner, and also you no longer can own a bump stock. So they're using an executive action that the Obama administration would never have even contemplated to take away. What are there, like 50 bump stocks in the entire United States?
Yeah, I'm glad he jumped on that. Yeah, and also sending millions of dollars to Mexico.
Billions, not millions, billions of dollars. The Associated Press is reporting $10.6 billion just to the Northern Triangle and to southern Mexico. I don't understand what that's all about. I'm beside. I mean, that's on Congress, though, right?
He signs it.
Yeah.
It was only a week ago. He's doing that completely idiotic. I'll shut down the government for the wall for what we need. I mean, every single thing about the way he does things is enraging, making ridiculous, counterproductive promises. Why would you take it on yourself that you're going to shut down the government for the wall? Why not say, we want a wall. If you don't give me a wall, you're responsible for a government shutdown. And why do you say it's what we want? Why don't you say, I mean, even Stalin never said we're doing this because I want it. You say we're doing what's best for the country. He makes these ridiculous promises 10 minutes before he folds. Well, no, I don't need wall funding.
Well, the House Freedom Caucus is telling me that, or some aides for the House Freedom Caucus are telling me that there is a last-ditch effort to try and file some amendments to close up some loopholes and provide funding for the wall. Do you? I mean, I know this is kind of a stupid question, but do you have any faith that the House Freedom Caucus is going to prevail?
I've never seen such a bad negotiator as Donald Trump. He has not lifted a finger. If it would require the effort it takes to walk across the street to get the wall, he won't do it. I mean, good luck to the House Freedom Caucus, but this is the end of days for them, because you're about to live in a country where no Republican can be elected president again, and then there will be no point to what either of us do. It'll be like the whole country will be California. Do you think there are any interesting political writers, at least on California politics, any interesting talk radio hosts about California politics, or any interesting Republican politicians in California? No. It's a state where there is no Republican Party. That will be this country. No point to talk radio, no point to Fox News. All we will do is lose, lose, lose. We took the only bet we could take. I'd do it again. I'd write in Trump we trust again. He was saying the right things, and there was always a risk. He was just a BS artist. That's what it's looking like.
Is there anything, Ann Coulter, before we have to let you go, is there anything that you're happy about as we head into Christmas?
Lots of things I'm happy about. Politically, not much.
Well, at least we won the war on Christmas, right? All right,
that too will be short-lived.
All right, Ann Coulter, thanks for joining us here on the Howie Carr Show. Your book, your latest one, is Resistance is Futile. You can get it now on Amazon. Thanks a lot, Ann, for joining us, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Good to talk to you. Bye-bye.
All right, this is Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr, and this is the Howie Carr Show.